Firstly, I wanted to start with your amazing debut at All Out. But even before that, just please describe what it was like, those moments before you actually walked out onto the stage.
Um, I have never been so nervous in my whole life.
Mhm.
Um, my heart was beating faster than I ever thought it could. I was shaking. My hands were shaking. My legs were shaking. I was just so nervous for so many reasons, there'd been so much, leading up to this moment. There'd been so much anticipation, just for myself to get to this moment. A lot of preparing and a lot of different stuff. So um, I was incredibly, incredibly nervous, but I think that I really kicked in when they started to chant my name before the countdown actually happened.
Mhm.
And it went just to next level, next level. I was like almost in tears. I was like, oh my gosh, pull it together, Ruby. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And I genuinely was so grateful for all of the fans and just to be there in that moment and experience it. I had a bunch of friends and stuff in the back that were just, rooting me on and stuff like that. So I was really grateful, but it was an incredible experience.
You mentioned there the fans chanting your name before you came out, and obviously you put your new name out there on Twitter, and we had the
Mm.
amazing video of you and Lars that I just really melted my heart so much.
He's the best.
To see someone have that interaction with one of their heroes is just so amazing. But for you, how much did you wonder if you were going to hear Ruby Riot rather than Ruby Soho, and how happy were you to know that that name had connected so well?
I I wasn't even sure if I was going to hear that. Like I wasn't even sure if I was going to hear my own name. I went into it, with expectations of just like I really just hope and pray that they like me or they're happy to see me or they're happy that I am the Joker. I went into it really hoping that they would accept me.
Mhm.
And so it was an amazing surprise, not only to hear, Ruby, but Ruby Soho, which is a name I hadn't gone by yet.
Mhm.
And I had just kind of put out there to, the internet world. And I was just so excited that, that had kind of gotten enough of a buzz that they knew that that was me before I had ever stepped in front of them. So it just felt like just really the perfect beginning to this new chapter of my life of like, these people know that this is a new start and they know that this is a different version of me. And I'm excited to, show them who that really is.
This song, Ruby Soho, obviously you were a big fan of the song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have listened to it thousands and thousands of times, but
Mm-hmm.
the time between you deciding that that is your name and making your AEW debut, were you listening to it a lot, and were you listening to it with a different mind of like, okay, this, I'm thinking about me walking out to this, and then what was walking out to it actually like in reality?
That's a great question because I definitely did. I definitely listened to it with the thought of like, wow, like this is my music. This
Mhm.
is my music. This is a song that I've listened to so many times, and I would have never guessed that it was something I could actually use. And I listened to it, and I have this thing. I always do this. Like, I picture it in my head how I think it's going to go, or like I like to envision that moment. Like leading up to something that's big and exciting that's happening. So I did it often, with the thought in mind, and then actually coming out to it, and the fans' reaction was leaps and bounds better than I had ever anticipated. Like anything I could have pictured was not even close to how amazing the crowd was in Chicago. They were just perfect, and they're singing the song with me. I see people jamming out to it, excited that I'm there, excited about wrestling, excited about AEW, and everything was just perfect and just better than I could have ever described. Like as soon as I came back from that match, I like almost collapsed with just like this emotion that like I have never felt before in my life. Like I was crying, and I was just so happy at this, like this new beginning that I had, and this appreciation that these fans had that I didn't even know existed, and this excitement that now we both shared for like what the next step is for me.
Who was the first person that you like spoke to when you came back?
Well, I was surprised by my best friend. Um, I was surprised by Sarah Rowe. She came to All Out. I didn't know she was going to be there. And I opened the door, and she's there with my godson, with her son, Cash. And she was right there. And she's been there for, every part of my career thus far. We've been taking these steps together. We kind of broke in together. And she was there, and she had tears in her eyes. I had tears in my eyes. I hugged her, and I was just like, wow, like this has just come full circle. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even contain my emotions. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the rest of the day. Cause I went from just super anxious, super nervous, mm-hmm. super excited, mega adrenaline rush when I was out there, and then came back and was overflowed with just like pride and appreciation and happiness. And I was like, I have experienced just a roller coaster. I'm on sensory overload at this point.
Have you spoken to Lars since, and did he like say anything about what it was like hearing his song and you coming out to it?
Oh, he reached out and texted me right after the match happened, and he was so cool. He was just so cool. It's so bizarre to me to be able to be like, that's my friend. Like, that's crazy. Like, yes, it's my hero, but / my friend. Like, it's crazy to me for me to even be able to say that. But he texted me and was just like, that was so cool. Like, that was awesome. And I was like, I'm so honored I got to be a part of that moment. And, and I told him, I was like, you guys made that moment that much more special to me, because, my love for punk and my love for pro wrestling, kind of came together in that moment of just like, this is everything that has kind of built me and who I am, that came together that night. And it was because of him. It was because of him, kind of bestowing this amazing gift to me, to be able to use the name in the song. And I was like, you helped make that moment that much more special, even more than I could have ever imagined.
So at All Out, we also saw Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson's debut, and those two like massive names in wrestling. What was it like being debuted on the same night as them, and then like the show being about like the three of you, debuting, like mm-hmm. you're there alongside Bryan Danielson is just one of the highlights of that night.
I'm so excited that you said that, because Stephanie, it is bizarre to me, like in the best way, but like the fact that in headlines, in news articles, in pictures, like I had kind of thought, because they were such huge signings, incredible names, legends in their field, I had thought like, okay, people are going to be excited for this like stint about seeing me, and then like this is going to happen, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be the headline, as it rightfully as it should. But the fact that like I'm alongside those names, the flyer for the next time we're in Chicago just came out, and it's my photo with Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, and CM Punk. And my wrestling fan brain doesn't know how to comprehend that I'm alongside those incredible names. Like those guys are amazing at what they do, and like the biggest names in pro wrestling, and I get to be next to them. Like that is that's awesome to me. And so I'm just very honored, and I'm very grateful. I've told a lot of people I'm just in the right place at the right time. But I'm so happy, to be a part of this company, to be a part of, this next step for AEW. I think that, we are becoming, and we are the brand. to watch right now, because there's so much exciting stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. All Out, I mean, for me, I thought absolutely one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen, and that's something I've seen like echoed so much that the internet. Can you like let me in a bit on what the atmosphere was backstage after that show? Were you all the AEW team, the family, saying, "Yeah, we did it. We put on an all-time great show here"?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, the whole day, like you could feel that like the night itself was special. And as it started to progress, and as we started to hear the reaction to the fans and the people, and how the matches were just like one right after the other were just amazing matches, and like everything was just kind of like had just played perfectly. I think by the end of it, everybody knew that it was something to be proud of. And one of the things that was great to actually see as a newcomer was that the people who built this company, like the people who made this company what it is, to be able to see them, be so proud, and rightfully so, of the work that they had done to get to this point. So I think I'm honored actually to be a part of it, that they were willing to share that night with me and allow me to be a part of it. So it was amazing, and it was great.
So for you, after you released in June, at what point did you know for sure that AEW was where you were going to land?
Whether or not I was going to was kind of up in the air for me. I knew I wanted to. I knew that was from the moment it happened. Like I wanted the next step to be there, because I was a fan of the product long before I got released. I loved that place. I have a lot of friends and people who work there that I kept up with, and I really loved what it embodied, how it was different than anything that you saw. And I wanted to. I didn't assume that once I was released that I was just I'm going there. Like I didn't assume that, because I think that they have such an amazingly stacked roster as it is before me, that I was just hoping that I would have the opportunity to do so. So I had a lot of friends. I'm very grateful. I have a lot of friends that had spoken to Tony and were telling them that I would be a good fit here. And then from what I understand, he had been thinking about it, previously to that. So it wasn't a difficult decision by any means. Like this is where I wanted to go. It was just like whether or not I could get here, and I did.
Were there any, when you were watching, just as a fan, was there any like matches that stood out that you really enjoyed watching, or what was the feeling that you got from watching AEW that made you want to be there?
So I have one of the reasons I started watching. I've been a friend of mine, and somebody I've always looked up to is Eddie Kingston. And when he was feuding with Jon Moxley, I was watching a lot of like the promo stuff that they were doing, and two of the guys that are the best on the mic, in the industry right now, in my opinion. I was just a really big fan of how, they were pushing the boundaries. They were, saying some personal things, and like, it was really getting me to like want to see the matches, and I think that that kind of like hooked me a lot. Like I'd watch it, like I said, like here and there, but just some of the they had time. The matches were long, and were able to tell these amazing stories and stuff like that. And so I definitely really knew that there was something special about this place. And as it's grown, it's only gotten more special. And I think that, it's just the beginning for us. And I'm so excited to be able to say us and to be able to be a part of the team. So yeah, it's been pretty great.
Like in June before your release, were you like feeling any particular way about how things were going with you in WWE, or did you at all see it coming anyway?
I mean, I didn't see it coming. I liked my job. I loved the girls that I worked with. The locker room over there is amazing. Those women are those women helped me make who I am today. Like, those women are incredible athletes. They are incredible people. And I loved being around them. I loved being in a locker room with them. So yeah, and you know, my tag team partner at the time, you know, is one of my best friends. So I didn't feel any kind of way at the time, and I didn't really see it coming. I just bought a house, and so it definitely caught me off guard at the time, but it seems like I said, I'm kind of always in the right place at the right time somehow, you know, with these things. And it definitely was, you know, perfect for how everything happened, how everything fell into place with the music and the debut date and, you know, everything like that. And currently, like, I am the happiest I've ever been in pro wrestling, happier than I ever thought I could be in wrestling. And it's because of AEW. It's because of this new world and this place that there's so many possibilities. There's so many things for me to do and to still yet accomplish. And I can't wait to see what the future holds.
I'm so glad that you feel that happiness now. And like the day that you were released, about an hour or two before that, I had just finished interviewing Liv. She answered pretty much every question about like the plans that she had for her. So it was just like so heartbreaking that day, you know, for that. But
yeah,
like, you've absolutely landed in the best possible place. And I know that when it happened, you tweeted about eating a box of Oreos. And
I did. Lots of Oreos. I think I might have undersold it a little bit. It was probably more than a box, but couldn't really give out all that. But yeah.
But at what point did you have the moment of, it's gonna be okay, like I'm gonna be fine?
I came in waves, honestly. The first night it was all I'd known for the last 5 years, that lifestyle, that schedule, everything. That was all I knew. So it came in waves. The first night was tough. I'd gotten a lot of people who reached out to me, and I was very grateful, but I couldn't even respond to a lot of people because I didn't know what to say, and I didn't know what the future held. I had a lot of questions in my head that kind of like overwhelmed my brain. So that first night was tough. And then the next day I started, okay, here's where I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do. Cause 90 days it's 3 months, but it's not a long time to like kind of hit the reset button and figure out what you're going to do and start to make moves and start to put things into place. But I built a farm and I got some horses, which is amazing. It's something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. And I was able to kind of like put myself into that and really like build a home for myself. I would have moments of just like pure panic. And then I would have moments of like, all right, get it together. We need to start figuring out what we're going to do, how you're going to build your brand, like how I'm going to build the Ruby brand, and see what the next step is for me. So it came in waves. I got to reach out to some of the people that had also been through it. And they helped me through it a little bit. Like, it's okay. Like some days you feel like you're great and you're ready and you're ready to go. And then other days you're really sad. But a lot of the girls would reach out to me and FaceTime me, and I got to see them, and that broke my heart and warmed my heart all at the same time because I miss them so much. So, but some of them have come to visit me in the meantime. And so I know that those friendships are going to be lifelong friendships because they're just wonderful women.
You said there about building your brand, and one of the things that I love that you did were the runaway videos were so cool. Just so well shot, everything about it, just you looked amazing, all of it. Can you tell me a little bit about filming them and when it happened and what that process was like?
So a friend of mine reached out to me named John Carlo. I've known him for a number of years. He is incredible. He's an incredible videographer. And he had mentioned to me like, hey, would you want to, kind of create some things? And he threw some ideas at me, and I kind of told him some things that I wanted to do. But I hadn't even really thought about the idea of that, but he had kind of talked to me about what he had thought. And he was like, if you can make it out to New York, like, let's go. And so, shortly after I booked a trip to New York, and we kind of filmed these things, and I kind of told him, firsthand what I had felt, post release and in the middle, and what I had wanted to, to become by the end of it. And we filmed a lot of different things, a lot of different shots. We knew the basis of what we wanted, but I kind of just left it really in his hands after I told him everything. And he kind of took this and made it into this beautiful art that again, better than I could have ever imagined. And I really felt like he captured the real emotions that I had felt, like the sadness that happened, after, and, the frustration of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. And then like this almost like rebirth, once I reached the city, that like, this is who I am now. This is the new me. And I'm just going to be that person that jams out in the middle of alleys to Rancid and air guitars. So I was very grateful for those videos, and they got, really great feedback. And they were, because of him, because of his artistic vision. So
with your aesthetic look, all of it is such a strong punk look, and it's so like totally you, and tattoos and all of it. And it's something that I felt myself always watching WWE, that was like quite underrepresented, that kind of alternative look. For you, like, did you feel that way being there, and now being in AEW, do you feel more like it's kind of completely no holds barred as far as like how you can present yourself?
So I never thought that I was going to make it to WWE. At the time that I had started, they weren't hiring women that looked like me. I had, again, right place, right time. They were hiring people that were a little bit kind of, that looked different. But I still felt, different, even though like I looked different and I had a unique look. I still felt like I couldn't quite find my place. I didn't quite fit in. And then coming to AEW, it was instant. It was immediate. I felt like I was home. I felt like these are the crowd. These are my people. And like this place, this is the way that I can literally just present myself however I want. And I think that they can see that. Honestly, I think that the fans can see. And I think that's one of the best things about AEW is, and why our fans are so amazing, is that I think they see everyone on our roster as the most authentic version of themselves. And I think they respond to that. And I think that's why they're so connected and so rambunctious and so involved, is because they can see like, this is who this person is. This is no holds barred. This is who they are. And they appreciate that, and they can relate to that. Like whoever the person is that they're rooting for at the time, they connect with that person, and they connect with the most authentic version of themselves. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about this place, is like, it's just a wide variety from all different walks of life, all different kinds of people that are truly true to themselves.
It's like, I've heard CM Punk say that it's like a punk show at AEW, and I get what he means, because the fans are so passionate and so they have a good time and just invested in it so much, and it's so cool to see. In AEW, we don't have a women's tag division now, but I have to ask, if we did, who do you think, if they did another tournament like they did before, who would you have your eye on picking to be your partner?
Ooh, no one's asked me that one. That's hard. That's a hard one. So I think, honestly, mainly from a like a fangirl perspective, there's somebody that like I have kind of like been like a couple steps behind, like in their journey of, as far as like where the promotion that they've ended up, or the company that they've been working for, is Serena Deeb. I am a huge Serena Deeb fan. She's awesome. And I have been like a step behind. Like I did Shimmer, we did Shimmer, OVW, WWE, and like I was just like right behind her when she left. And so I think that would be amazing. I think just to be around her and to be able to like soak up like a sponge, like all of her knowledge and how good she is. But I think definitely if I had to choose somebody, I think just from my fangirl perspective, I think it might be Serenity. But honestly, anybody that I was able to team up with or anything, our women's roster is so amazing. And we have so many, like I said, so many different girls. And like the ones that maybe I would expect we would work perfectly together, maybe not. And the ones that I wouldn't, like my previous tag team partners, we were absolutely nothing alike, but we made it work. And so sometimes those opposites, complement each other. So it could honestly be, be anybody. And I would be honored and excited to work with and to be team up with anybody if the time came.
Coming into the women's locker room, you are the new girl, but at the same time, you are a veteran wrestler and you've been wrestling a lot longer than some of the girls there. Have you started to see yourself like that yet, and see yourself as maybe a veteran that could help out like a Ty Conte or an Anna Jay, someone like that that's not been around as long?
See, I don't know why I have I have a hard time, regardless of where I've been. Even if I was the most experienced woman on the roster, I have such a hard time like viewing myself as that, because I think I still see myself as a fan, like, or I'm just stoked about wrestling and about everybody else's wrestling. I would like to, if they wanted me to. If somebody asked me, to watch their match or to help them in any way, I would do anything that I could. I don't necessarily think I would like put that out there and be like, I'm the veteran here. Like, especially again with Serena in the locker room, like, come on. But like, I've never really viewed myself as that, but I would love to help anybody that I could in any way that I could. And so if anybody wanted it, I'm more than happy. But I have no problem going to somebody who is, less experienced than I am and being like, hey, did you see something that like, because I think that we can all learn from each other. I think that we're all from different places. We're all from different experience levels. We're all from different things. We all see different things. And I can learn just as much from the least experienced girl there as they can learn from me. So,
and I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but what's it been like just being on the road? Because you wouldn't have been like traveling that much in the past. How long?
I didn't travel. I honestly, oh my goodness. When I came back from shoulder surgery, I was only on the road for I think two or 3 weeks when the pandemic happened. So I hadn't been on the road in a very long time. So it's taking me a little bit to like get back into the travel mode thing, to get everything packed the night before and make sure that I leave for the airport. And like, again, I moved, so I'm like still getting used to my airport, and I'm still getting used to where the parking garages are and how to pack. And I always overpack, always overpack. So I'm getting used to the travel. I think that it's starting to get a little bit easier, and it's starting to like get a little bit more second nature like it used to be. But it was definitely different, to especially debuting, with All Out, and then having, Dynamite, a few days later. I just felt like I had just come home, and I was like, oh, my packing back up again. And so it's definitely been a change for sure.
And so we have Arthur Ashe next week, and I can't think of a show that I'm more excited just to even see what it looks like. This show for you, like, what are your expectations of just the whole Arthur Ashe experience setup? Like, how different it's going to be from anywhere you've ever wrestled before?
Yeah. I think it's amazing because there are very few times in wrestling, I think, especially nowadays, where an arena, like a big arena like that, has not been performed in. Yeah. Like it's, over the years, one company or another has performed in it. So I think it's really awesome that we're able to perform in this arena for the very first time. The last time I heard, I think we were at about a little over 18,000 tickets have been sold. And I have never performed in an arena like that before. And so I'm very interested to see. I've talked to a couple of the production guys. They said that it's going to be awesome and it's going to be wild. It's going to be unlike anything anybody's ever seen. And I think it's awesome that we are kind of presenting like this pay-per-view level show, on a Wednesday night Dynamite, just to like show like that any night that you watch AEW is going to be special, and any night is going to be, something to remember. And I think this one is going to be probably the best AEW Dynamite that we've had thus far. And I think it's definitely one that no one is going to want to miss, because even just like the matches that have been announced are, main event matches anywhere. So I think I'm very, very excited to be there and to be a part of it. And I can't wait to just see what it looks like. I can't wait to just like walk out into the arena and just see and like soak it all in. I can't wait.
And finally, you have your match with Britt at Arthur Ashe. So what has it been like for you working with her and coming into this company and that being your program, the top woman in the company?
So I've known Britt for a really long time. Like, her and I worked a couple shows together when she first broke in, but we never faced off against each other. We've never stepped into the ring, not multi-man tags, nothing, up until I got here. And I knew that she was definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, because she has done nothing but like nonstop improve and grind since she got here. Like, when she got here, she always made the best. Even when she was injured, she made the most out of the situations that she was in. And she was, always talking. That girl loves to talk. But I knew that like every time she had a match as well, I saw her improve. I saw her get better. I saw her learn more about her opponent. I saw her learn more about herself and what she was capable of. So I can see that every time she steps into the ring, she gets better. And I knew, and I know going into Wednesday that, it's not going to be easy by any sense of the word. It's not. We are going to test each other and to push each other probably to a limit that we haven't been to before. And, I think that what's at stake, is probably the biggest match of my entire wrestling career, is this coming Wednesday against Britt. And I'm excited to see what she brings out in me, the kind of fight she brings out in me. And I am more than ready to come home from the biggest Dynamite in AEW history as your AEW Women's World Champion.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for the match. And just thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been so great, like one of my favorites. And I'm so happy that you're in AEW.
Thank you.
So happy that you're happy.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.